Hello, Susan. I read what you wrote and I thought, wow. Well, I'm so glad to be practicing with you too. So that's great. Hi, Stevie. Yoga friends, how are you? It's been an interesting day. I'm in Los Angeles, and it's really crazy. It's a little chilly, kind of. Well, chilly for us. So I spent my morning in my garden, and I haven't been doing it as often as I used to. But honestly, today I woke up with a headache, which is very unusual for me. And so I decided to give my senses a break and instead to bring in as much healing as I could. And I know that when we are in nature, there's something that happens, the mirror neurons. Like there's this really important symbiotic relationship that we have with plants and animals, plants. I actually had a conversation with a hummingbird. Not that I'm crazy, but I do believe that we're all just balls of energy in different forms. And so today, the little hummingbird was right near a plant that I was watering, and I just was talking to him. And I swear to gosh, he hovered a little longer than usual, or she. Um, anyway, so I put out a newsletter today. I'm not sure if you got it yet, but my newsletter, the subject line is, "What did you do for your bones today?" And so that really is an important thing for me to convey, is that every day, all day, our bones are building or breaking down. It's what happens. It's that whole homeostatic aspect of what the body's trying to do. And so for us here today, right now, doing what we're going to be doing is we are going to be focusing on the building part of bones and stopping the dissolving part of bones. So when Susan said, "So glad to be practicing," I thought, wow, me too. Like that's what we get to do now, is focus on building bones. And we need strong bones the rest of our lives to do all the things we want to do and to not go down a path of not good stuff. Not even going to bring it into my speech, into the form of speech. Hello, Roxanne and Sharon. Hi, Sharon. How are you? All right. So anybody have anything that they would like to say, or I don't know. I don't know. Did I say that I woke up? Yeah, I did. I said I woke up with a headache, right? Well, being in nature helped. I also picked kale out of my garden and cleaned it and made myself a smoothie with berries and bananas and coconut water to bring more potassium into my body and to hydrate my body, and then to bring in fiber. And I used raw spinach and kale from my garden. And so really that's what I did. You know, most people open up an Advil bottle and say, "Here," but I chose to actually do it with nature. Kale and spinach and hydration and minerals and vitamins and being out in nature and talking to hummingbirds. Okay, anything else before I go back there? All right, because I will not see when I'm back there. All right, so here we go. All right. I see that someone else is here. I just want to see who this is. I think from here, I thought it was Lynn. Oh, Patty. Hi, Patty. All right. So nice of you all to be out there. All right. So for yoga for osteoporosis today, I would like to have a little smorgasbord. So I'm definitely going to do a lot of things. And I want the intention for today's class be this: what have you done for your bones today? And I hope by the end of this practice today, you will have at least one tool, if not a few, that you can start bringing into your life. Because the areas that we have the opportunity to have an effect on whether the bones build or break down, the areas we have is, number one, musculoskeletal. That is what we do here, especially in the physical practice. It's what you could do off the mat with your body. So the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you move. The next layer is biochemical and physiological. that has to do with present moment, with managing the stress so that we don't stimulate that chronic stress breakdown that is happening in the body from the mind, that's the physiological part of bone building, or from the biochemical, which is breath work, meditation, present moment. So the biochemical and the psychological kind of overlap in so much that it's our behaviors, and the behaviors come from the mind, yet some of those are things we're doing with the foods we eat, the things we drink or don't drink. And then we've got that physical aspect of movement. So without further ado, let's begin today to create bone building stimulation and to work on slowing down or stopping the mechanisms that are in our body in the background, that unmanaged stress. Let's work on that with breath work and with present moment. So the more you stay here on your 2 foot by 6 foot space, on your sacred space, right now in this moment, whatever the date is, whatever the day is, right here, that is contributing to bone building because it allows the body to heal and to go into the place of repair. For the practice today, you're going to need a block and a strap. Put those off to the side. You'll need a blanket. And I think with the blanket today, we will put the blanket at the top of the mat, beginning at the top of the mat. I'd like to suggest that we let gravity help to correct posture, which is another facet of stopping bone breakdown. And so I would like you to use less of a blanket than you usually do. So whatever that means for you. So I normally double fold. I'm going to go down to a single fold today. I don't want you to be struggling. And for those of you that have rounding in your upper body, going too low would be too much tension in your body. So really using what's appropriate for you, bringing your blanket onto the top of the mat so that when we do go down, we have some support for the head, but we don't have too much. So we can start to correct posture in the chest, in the shoulders, and in the front of the spine. Really subtle, but something that we could actually do every day. Because every day when your head is forward, you're tightening the front of your body. And so this is going to help to stretch and open the front of the body. Good for the muscles, good for the bones, and good for the biochemistry and physiology, because you can bring in more breath when you have more space. And that helps with detoxification, cardiovascular health, nervous system health, and all of that, which is important for bones. All right, let's come down. Coming down safely, another awareness piece to not break down bones or create problems by coming to the side, reaching your arm long, and bringing yourself all the way down onto the ground. And then you're going to start to arrange your skeleton in a nice aligned position. So the knees are bent, feet are flat. Push your arms into the floor to lift your rib cage away from the floor and slide the shoulder blades strongly to the spine. And then let your body weight come down on the shoulder blades. Keep the knees bent, feet are wider than the body, knees are touching each other. Notice the sacrum, so notice the pressure in the pelvis, the base of your spine. Push your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis off the floor slowly, and then tilt the pelvis back, draw the pelvis away from the ribs, and try to lengthen your low back as you place your pelvis down on the ground, top of the pelvis, and let it rock towards the sacrum. And then the arms can go out to the side. If you let your elbows be low as in low down, let your elbows be low down, and then try to see if you could open up your hands to touch the floor. This is rotator cuff muscles in the shoulder joint. So see if you're able to actually bring your hands all the way to the ground. Notice if one hand goes and maybe the other is a little tight, or do both of them go? This is rotator cuff. A good way to do this is bring your hands onto your belly, let your elbows be where they are, push your elbows into the ground, and push your shoulder blades into the ground, push your belly button towards your spine, and then open your hands to the floor
going towards the floor. Maybe you could get all the way there, noticing if one side's tighter than the other, or if both are tight, or if you can't even get your hands to the ground. Keeping our rotator cuff muscles limber is important for shoulder joint health, which is important for spinal health, which is important to keep the minerals in the bones for stronger bones. Wherever you are, if you can bring your arms up a little higher, try that. Bring your awareness to your head, to your neck. Feel the center of your head. Feel the back of the neck nice and long. The sides of the neck are long and the front of the neck is long. Let's do a little side to side with the head. Go slow, close your eyes. Rocking from side to side. Feel the stretching in the neck when you do this. Keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose. And bring yourself back to center. I'd like to do a few humming breaths. This is actually called Brahmari breath. Sometimes it's known as the bee breath or the bumblebee breath. It's a gentle humming action. And when we hum, we actually release nitric oxide, which is a molecule that helps, it's a vasodilator. So it actually helps to open the blood vessels, which is good for cardiovascular health, which will then be good for delivering nutrients around the whole body. It also helps to relax the bronchioles or the breathing tubes so that the breath can come in and out. It's actually good for headaches, not necessarily when you have a headache, but to prevent headaches or to do this so that you ward them off. So I have a slight headache. I'm going to use this bumblebee breath as a vasodilator to see if I can help myself open my blood vessels and minimize the pressure. So you determine how loud you want it to be. On the exhale, you hum. So let's do a couple of rounds of that. Take a big exhale. Inhale. Keep your mouth closed and hum on your exhale. Keep going at your pace. Keep your mind on your humming. Listen, pay attention. Finish the round that you're on and then do 3 more breaths. Long, slow exhales, humming on the exhale. When you finish your last round, go back to a natural pace of breath. Keep your eyes closed. Let your awareness notice what it notices. Noticing how your head feels, how your body feels. I'd like you to visualize a lake that is undisturbed with water that would be crystal clear. And if you were to look over the edge, you would actually see your reflection. And then imagine if there was a gentle vibration, how that would disrupt the surface and actually allow for a very even disruption. The pattern would be very even. Going back to the calm, clear surface of a lake. And again, you look over the edge and you see your reflection. This is the goal of meditation, of breath work, of present moment, of cleaning the chalkboard of the mind, cleaning the slate, so you become more clear. Bring your hands onto your belly. Spread your fingers. Mouth is closed. Begin to breathe deeply down to the hands that are on the belly. Feel your belly rising towards your hands. Feel the breath going deep into your body, warming up your deep insides, warming up your spine, your ribs, gently beginning to pull on the ribs, on the bones, as you breathe deeper, expanding your rib cage deeper. The more you ask for, the more your body responds. So breathe deeply to expand your rib cage, gently pulling on the bones so that they will remain strong. Bringing in more oxygen for more energy production, so you could practice some strong postures in this practice today to create more bone building stimulation. Take 3 more deep breaths, bringing in as much oxygen to create as much energy as possible, so you could utilize that during your strong postures today. Letting that last breath go. Bring your awareness to your fingers and your toes as you wiggle your fingers and your toes. Come into a fully stretched position slowly if your body will let you, if you have that range of motion in all the joints to find this. And if not, find whatever your joints will allow you to do. Slowly exploring, close your eyes so you could be in a deeper place of awareness in what's appropriate for your body when it comes to movement. That's how we stay safe. Take one more breath. Bending the knees. Draw the knees into the chest one at a time. Feel the low back pressing towards the ground. Draw the knees in deeply. Push the top thighs towards your belly. Really compress your abdomen. And then rock side to side. So from a physical perspective, compressing your abdomen can be helpful for detoxification, helpful for moving lymphatic fluids through the system, which is good for immune health, good for detoxification as well. And then also pressing organs so that when you release, you let them fill up with new, bringing your legs down onto the mat. So let's treat this time as self-care, self-love, doing what's appropriate. If you close your eyes, you make this a very connected practice for yourself. You'll be able to explore what is safe for you and not go too hard and not injure yourself, and stay in that sweet spot, coming to the edge, maybe slightly over if that's appropriate for you. So you create more muscular strength, more bone strength, more length in your blood vessels, length in your cells, length in your tissues, more space in your joints. So if you close your eyes and you know where you are, you determine what that is for you. Let me be your guide, and then you take over from there and you go to what is the appropriate place for you. Let's begin today with the bridge. To me, probably one of the most valuable anti-aging and healthy spine, healthy bones postures that there is. This is meant to be a back bend. Let your body take on the shape of a rainbow. So think of your spine trying to bend it like a rainbow, where the tailbone and the top of the spine right by the heart, so not the neck, but right here is where you want the top of the bend. So you want the rainbow to be in your torso and not in your neck. Try to bend as much as you can, pushing the back of the spine into itself for bone building stimulation, and then pushing away from the ground with the arms and the feet to strengthen the muscles to facilitate this. Let's take the block, bring the block between the knees. Blanket is away from the head. No pressure in the head and the neck. Lift your head up, lengthen your neck, and then press your arms into the ground and slide those shoulder blades back towards the spine. Arms could be bent or down by the side. Once you find yourself here, do not look side to side. Close your eyes, and the rest should be feeling yourself into this. Walk the feet closer to your body, squeeze your block, tilt your pelvis back so that your low back presses into the ground. Squeeze your tushy, and then push your feet into the ground, your arms into the ground. Start to peel your spine up. When you start to lift the ribs away from the ground, the rib cage, push that up towards the sky and towards your nose to bend your spine as much as possible. It's not about how high you go. I want you to bend your spine. Turn yourself into a rainbow. Push your legs into the ground, push your feet into the ground, push your hands into the ground, and then the weight comes into the upper torso. Feel this bend in your spine. Really open the front of your body. Squeeze the block and draw the knees away from you to find even more length. Deep breaths. Push your arms into the ground, push your feet into the ground, squeeze the block, lengthen your knees. Find as much back bend as possible. Push the backbones into each other. Bone building stimulation. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down slowly. Bring the blanket back behind your head. Take the block out to the side. You decide what's appropriate for yourself. How long to stay, how much to push, how much to pull. Draw your knees into your chest, rock side to side. No one else is going to do this for you but you. And this is your time. Feet onto the ground, hands on the belly. Rest after this posture. Let's take the arms out to the side. Take the legs all the way off the mat. Let's stretch our body, stretch our hips. Start letting your knees go side to side with the soles of the feet on the ground at first. Close your eyes. Feel this in your body. Stretching your hip. You may feel this in the waist. You may feel this in your legs. Feel what it feels like. And start letting your legs go a little farther. And notice that the stretching goes deeper. If it goes into the low back, make sure it's appropriate. And if it's aggravating at all, push your belly towards your spine and turn on your core to support your low back, hugging your lumbar spine for support. Let your head go opposite of your knees. Slow down your movements. You inhale to let your knees go to the side, let your head go the opposite direction. Exhale, hug your lumbar spine to come back up to center. Inhale, opposite direction, hugging the lumbar spine to come back up. Moving with awareness, with intention. The next time your legs come to the right, let them stay there. Head is to the left. Pick your left hand off the ground. Reach your left side nice and long. Try to unbend the left hip, pushing the hip up towards the sky. Really stretch the left side. Close your eyes. Feel this in your body. Breathe to your left side. Take one more breath. Bring yourself back to center. Bring the legs back up as you exhale. Inhale, let your legs go to the left. Let your head go to the right. Arrive fully. And then stretch that right side, reaching the right hand off the ground. Close your eyes. Feel the stretch in your body. Try to unbend that right hip joint, pushing it up towards the sky. Deep breaths to the right side. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Bring your feet back to neutral. Bring your hands onto your belly. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Check in. See where you're at. So let's do a little core awareness because I'd like to do a posture that's pretty challenging. And we need to make sure that we really can hug our lumbar spine and understand what that means. The core is your corset from the lower ribs to where your legs attach to your body. Hugging your lumbar spine means activating all the muscles from the back all the way to the front, drawing inward and towards the spine. So pulling the belly down towards the spine, everything coming towards the spine to protect. The diaphragm is a part of this, so the lower ribs will move towards the spine in that action. And then the pelvic floor, you'll feel a lift from the pelvic floor. So let's take the block, bring the block between your knees, get a little acquainted with this. As you contract the core, flatten the low back, you're going to feel your pelvis tilting. Take your hands behind your head. This is a really great way to feel this. Close your eyes. Elbows are out to the side. The feet should be block distance. Toes are pointing forward. Squeeze the block a couple of times so you feel your inner thighs activating the muscles on the inner legs. And then squeeze the block. Inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the block even more and try to flatten the low back into the floor by contracting your core, activating the pelvic floor, pushing the lower ribs towards the ground, hugging your lumbar spine with your core to the point of shaking, and then inhale to release. Exhale, squeeze the block, activate your core, zipper, 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 like you're zippering up tight jeans, hugging your lumbar spine, flattening your low back, push both sides of the lower ribs towards the spine. Inhale to release. Again, contract the core, press the block, activate pelvic floor, hug your lumbar spine, lower ribs, both sides towards the ground, flattening the low back. And then one more. Inhale to release. On this exhale, contract your core, tighten up your core, lift your upper body off the floor, elbows to the side, nose straight up towards the sky, lower ribs towards the spine, low back flattens. Inhale to release. Exhale to activate strong, be strong here. Balance, alignment, posture, fall prevention, spinal health. You exhale to rise up. You inhale to lower. Exhale is the work. Inhale is the release. One more. Come up and stay up. Tip of the nose straight up towards the sky. Elbows out to the side. Contract your core like crazy. And then inhale to lower. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Press the right elbow into the ground. Exhale, contract your core. Lift your left elbow off the ground. And then point your left elbow over towards the right. Keep the right elbow on the ground. Inhale to lower. Exhale, contract your core. Squeeze the block. Flatten the low back. Activate the core. Left arm into the ground. Right arm lifts up and then over to the left. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Eyes are closed. Feel all the work in your body. Go slow. Keep your nose pointing up towards the sky and then over towards the side when you add rotation. One more to each side. When you come down, stay down. Take the block out to the side, bring your hands onto your belly, close your eyes, go inside your body, feel what you feel. And then open your eyes. So there's a lot of stabilizing in that. That's a very, really great stabilization practice, making sure that the nose stays relatively up towards the sky, because if the nose is up towards the sky, then you know that you're not rounding the thoracic spine. When the nose goes down, then there's a potential for rounding and more pressure on the front spine, which is a no-no for osteoporosis. So that's a good straight up towards, and then that rotational aspect, I like to close my eyes and feel what's happening. For me, I felt a lot of spinal movement, and that's because of my hip replacement and whatever's happening there. So it's really, I love when something says that it's for something and then you do it. It's like, wow, I feel all that spinal stuff. So that's a good one for spinal stability. This next posture we're going to do is actually going to strengthen the core. So hugging the lumbar spine, activating your core is really important to protect your low back in this. You're going to get lower lumbar bone stimulation. And for those of you with DEXA scan readings that have low density in the lumbar spine, this is one you would want to add to your practice. The thing about this posture is we hold a hovering in for 30 seconds, which can be a real challenge. It requires a lot of core and trunk support. That's what the posture is here. So I'm going to guide you through this. Do what's appropriate to you. Say that you stay safe. Take your block. So bring your block up, bring your block between your lower legs and on this level here. So it's the widest, not the widest, it's the middle range. This is about hip distance because the hip joint is actually here in the front of the body, not on the sides. Squeezing the block, the more bent your knees are, a little easier. The closer the knees are to the chest is easier because it tilts the pelvis back. Harder would be legs are right above the pelvis or legs are either straight or moving towards straight. You decide. The opposite arm, or sorry, the same side arm that you're moving to really will be a part of what helps to support you as well as the core. So let's move into this. Take an exhale, inhale, zipper up, activate your core, squeeze your block, and bring yourself into where you can hover for 30 seconds. Squeeze the block, legs come to where it's appropriate for you. Really hug that lumbar spine. Use the arm in the direction that you're going to help stabilize as well. Heart is pointing up towards the sky. Hug your lumbar spine. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's take a break for one breath. And then bring yourself into a position to prepare for the next. Hands are to the side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, get ready. And as you exhale, contract your core and start to enter the posture to the place that's appropriate for you to hover for 30 seconds. Heart up towards the sky. Last breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring the block out. Bring your knees to your chest. Rock side to side. Bring your feet onto the ground. Hands onto the belly. Let's let the dust of that posture settle. Let's come onto our bellies, rolling all the way over onto your belly. You could keep your blanket there or move it away, depends on what you prefer. Let your elbows be underneath your shoulders. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. And then you're gonna walk your feet so that your toes are not touching, but coming straight off of your body. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. Push down into the ground with spread hands and your forearm. Push down and then push your heart towards the ground and then push away from the ground. Feel a stretch in the low belly, right below the ribs. This is called Sphinx. This is actually a great posture to do. It's even nice to do this in a bed, helping to strengthen the upper back and neck muscles. Push your heart forward and push away from the ground. Be very active here. So make this work. Push your hands down into the ground, push your heart towards the ground, and then push away. Create a lot of deep stretch in your torso. It's another back bend. Take one more breath. And then with length, bring yourself all the way down to the ground. Fold your hands one on top of the other. Let your head rest on the hands and take your feet all the way as wide as the mat. And then wiggle your pelvis back and forth side to side to let your spine and your pelvis settle. Bring yourself back to neutral. Walk your feet together so the big toes touch. And then try to flatten the feet in the floor so that the pinky toenails are pushing into the floor. That'll allow the inner thighs to roll up towards the sky, the outer leg to be down towards the ground. So you get a little internal rotation force, which helps to spread the low back and give a little relief there. We're going to come into the locust. So lift your head up and lengthen your head away from you. The hand position can be straight hands, palms facing in towards each other, palms up towards the sky, or clasped hands that are not resting on your body. So you decide which one. Toes are touching, soles of the feet are up towards the sky. Lengthen your neck, down of your head, all the way down to your fingers and your toes. Deep breaths. Finishing your last breath, bring yourself all the way down. Folding your hands one on top of the other. Take your legs wide. Bend your knees. Let your forehead rest on the back of the hands. Legs are wide and let your legs flop side to side. Keep your hip bones on the ground. Keep your pelvis relatively stable. It can rock a little bit, but let your legs kind of go by themselves. So don't push them. Let them find the side to side movement. Let your hip joints relax, low back relax, pelvis relax. Breathe down to your belly. That'll help to release low back discomfort. Take one more breath.
And then bring your legs straight off in front of you. So I'd like to try a getting up a different way that's a little bit challenging. If this is too much, you can come onto your side and get up, but let's try this and see what happens. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. So make sure that's happening. Don't have your elbows wider than your shoulders. So look down and your elbows are right underneath the shoulders. They're not closer to your body and they're not farther away and they're not wider than your body. And then open up your hands so you press your forearms into the ground. Your legs are coming straight off your body, so your feet are about 4 inches apart. You're actively holding up your head, not letting it flop down. You're going to bring your awareness to your core and start zippering up the midsection like you're putting on a tight pair of jeans, hugging your lumbar spine. Dig your elbows into the ground, dig your knees into the ground. Take an inhale. As you exhale, push your hands into the ground, push your lower legs into the ground. Try to draw the knees towards each other and then lift the low back straight up towards the sky, bending the knees and the elbows and trying to bring them towards each other. Making sure that you're protecting your core by pushing your belly up towards your spine. Hovering here in a modified forearm plank. Take one more breath and then bring yourself down. Bring yourself into Sphinx. Breathe down to your belly. Push your heart towards the floor. Push away from the ground with your forearms. And then you're going to roll onto your side. Keeping your front spine long. You're going to push away from the floor to bring yourself up. Bring yourself into a seated position that you can rest for a few breaths in. So for those that have bendable knees, come into heroes. For those that prefer seated, easy seated, come into crisscross leg position. Close your eyes and notice what you notice. Take one more breath. Open your eyes. Moving on. Let's bring the blanket into a folded position. We're going to do a twist. So you have variations here. One twist is a bent knee twist. So this would be called the seated bent knee twist. For those that have knees that do not like to bend, this may not be an option for you to come into this kind of a twist. So if that's you, you may want to do the other variation, which is this straight leg twist. So it's up to you. The blanket position matters. So if you are going to do the bent knee twist, you'll have one buttock supported by the blanket and the other buttock supported by your heel. And if you're going to do the straight leg twist, you're going to sit on the blanket with both legs straight and then you bend one knee. So I'm going to show you the bent knee version of this. So I'm going to take one buttock on the blanket. So this buttock over here doesn't have blanket under it. I'm going to take this leg of the leg that's on the buttock, on the blanket, and bend it and then sit on my heel. So I'm sitting on the heel with one tushy cheek, on the blanket with the other, and then I bring the leg up and over to this side. The block goes on the same side of the knee that's bent. Hand goes on the floor behind. So you want a nice long spine. In order to create spinal bone stimulation, you need to have a long spine with a back bend in the upper spine to be safe. And we rotate from the rib cage on up. So keeping that lumbar spine nice and safe, yet still stimulated for bone building. Take your hand onto your leg, get nice and tall. You want this upper chest to remain lifted and open and not closed off. So nice tall body, push away from the block or the ground, depending on your limbs, how long your arms are. Exhale, and then inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs rotate. Always working when you're in a posture. Push into the ground with your feet, lower your shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Push the shoulder blades forward to lift your heart and to lengthen your spine. Deep breaths. Breathe down to your belly, push away from the ground, constantly working, pushing down to get tall and adding rotational force at the same time. Strengthening the hip joint here, strengthening the spine. Strengthening the core. Take one more breath. And then with length coming out, coming to the other side. So either the bent knee, one buttock is on a heel, the other buttock is supported by the blanket, leg goes across the body, and the block goes on the side of the leg that's in the front. If you have straight legs, you just keep both legs straight and bend the knee without crossing over the other leg. Push your feet into the ground, that'll help to support lower lumbar spine. Push your legs down, get nice and tall here, take an exhale. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs rotate in this direction. And then when you arrive, push down on the block, tall spine, lower shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards the center of the spine, and then push them forward to add a back bend to the thoracic spine. So length and rotation is how you keep your spine safe and create bone building stimulation. Back elbow is bent. You're not leaning on that hand. You're pushing away from the ground to get tall. Breathe down to your belly. Push down to get tall, lift your heart. Take one more breath. And then slowly unwinding to come back to center. Come into a rest position, whatever that means for you. Legs could be crisscrossed, or you could come into bent knees. Sit tall, close your eyes, feel your body. Open your eyes. Let's come up onto your blanket. Take your block, bring your block between your legs or your ankles so you could squeeze and get a nice firm hold here. We're going to do camel, which is a back bend. You want to make sure you're nice and safe here in your pelvic area, so not excessive back bend in the lower back, because that'll be aggravating. You want to try to bring some neutral. So the way you do that is you activate your core, lifting your core up towards your lower ribs, really hugging your lumbar spine, but you want to soften your belly. So bring yourself into that position, soften your belly, Heel of the hand can be on the pelvis. You can make fists, pushing into your pelvic bone to push your pelvic bone down, letting your shoulder blades help to lengthen and add that back bend to the spine. Or you could come into clasped hands, reaching your hands down, letting the shoulder blades go towards each other, length and extension of the spine. Kneecaps are forward. Set yourself up for success. Take your hands into whatever position you would like. Let's take an exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Inhale, let your spine be long. Be very active, whatever it is you're doing. Squeeze your block. That'll help protect the low back. Soft belly because you're stretching it. Stretching the front of your spine. The work is in the shoulder blade area, the upper back, trying to add a back bend to the thoracic spine. Very active in the upper back. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. If you have a block back between your legs, you could sit back on that block or sit in any rest position you'd like. Couple breaths here. Let's come up, next posture. Block off to the side, plank, any variation you'd like. Pointer fingers are forward, palms are spread, one foot back and then the other, bringing yourself into plank. You could come into modification, put the lower legs on the ground. Push your heels back, distribute your weight between hands and feet. Push your fingers into the floor, all of them. Push all the toes, including the pinky, into the ground. And then push the hands into the ground, the feet into the ground. Now draw them towards each other. Activate that deep core midline. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down and out. Resting. Close your eyes. Feel all of that. Blink your eyes open. Let's take the strap, take some tension and stretch the upper back from all the back bending that was done. So take your hands up in the air if you can, if your shoulders will let you. Reaching up, stretching your body, the front of the body. You can stay down here or you can come up onto your legs. And then if you have shoulder issues, bring your arms out to the side maybe and try it like this. Trying to stretch the upper back and the spine, taking some tension out. And then bring your hands back to the center. Take your body side to side, modifying according to what your needs are. Getting your blood to calibrate at this level now. And then bring your strap back. You could bring it back down low, getting your chest and your shoulders to stretch. Take one more breath. And then bring that strap off. Put the strap off to the side. So we're going to come up to standing. So tilt your block up on its highest level. We'll be using that. Come onto your blanket. Let's bring a leg forward. Challenge yourself if you can, bringing the weaker side forward. Flip the back toes under, practicing getting up and down off the ground. Hands are on your thighs. Take an inhale, let your body weight go back. And then exhale, push away with the front foot and the back foot and bring yourself all the way up to standing. We're going to clear our space. We want to bend down with our hips, bending your hip deeply. Take your blanket off to the side. And then prepare your space. A chair or a block is going to be necessary, or a wall. So let's come into a dancer posture, which is a standing back bend posture. It's a balanced posture. It's a challenging posture. You're bending your spine here, so the upper spine is in that back bend. We're balancing, tilting forward on one leg, trying to not open our body to the side, but rather keeping our hips square or relatively square with the upper torso, adding a back bend standing. So you may need a wall for this, or you may need a chair. Go ahead and get what you need. Whatever leg you're going to come onto, you're going to put that foot onto the ground, take the back foot back, and then bend that back leg. See if you could bring that back foot close to your tushy. If you could grab the top of the foot, great, or you may need to grab your pants or a pair of socks. And if you're not able to grab anything, you could do a dancer like this. Let your leg be wherever it is in space. So let's come into the dancer. Exhale, inhale to enter. It's balance, it's back bend. Lift that front hand up. Push your foot into your hand. Turning on the back of the body. Lengthening the front. Take one more breath. Come out gracefully. Let's go to the other side. Foot is pointing down. You're going to bend that back leg to bring the back leg up, holding onto the back leg or the pants or whatever it is you need. Then we're going to enter this posture, tilting forward onto that front hip, lifting that front arm up to add that back bend, pushing that back foot into the hand. One more breath. And then bring yourself out. Let's come through Tadasana, mountain, posture of alignment. Toes are forward. Rock back and forth so you feel the weight distribute evenly and with awareness. Take your hands down by the side. Reach down with your hands. Push down with your feet. Push your top thighs back. Tailbone down towards the ground, so a little tilt in your pelvis. Lift your rib cage away from your pelvis, long spine. Chin parallel towards the ground. Push the head back on top of the spine. Ears right over your shoulders. Push your hands back, push your hands down, push your feet down, and long, tall spine. Take one more breath. Bring yourself out. Let's go ahead and grab your block. Or a chair, depending. So we're going to do a triangle posture. So this is going to strengthen the bottom of the body, strengthening the pelvis, strengthening the hips. And then with the triangle, we're going to try to turn our heart forward. So adding some rotational forces for the spine, especially that whole lumbar spine area. So for those with the DEXA scan readings in the spine, really focusing on their spinal health, this is a great posture for all of it. It's going to do hip, pelvis, and lower spine. It's called triangle. So using a block or a chair, depending on what your level of flexibility is. Let's come into a really wide stance and then point the toes away from you and the heel away from you. The shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Exhale. And then inhale to reach your hand up. Block if you're using a block, or chair if you have a chair there. And then bending at the hip joint, you bring yourself down onto the ground, pushing into the block, either block behind you or block in front of you. You choose. Whatever gives you the most rotational force in your spine. Activate your feet, so grab the floor with the feet, lifting the arches away from the floor. Push down with your feet, down with your heels. Draw that energy to the pelvis, lengthen your spine, and then rotate your spine forward. Push away from the block or the chair. Don't lean down into it, push away. Create as much force as you can in your body for 30 seconds, pulling and pushing on your bones. Take one more breath. Keep your legs straight. Begin by pushing your feet into the floor. Push your heels into the floor. Slowly bring yourself up using your core, using your torso, using the muscles that support your spine, posture, and alignment to come up. Toes are forward. Block is in the other hand. Prepare your feet. Toes are away. Heels away. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Reach down with your hands. Exhale. Inhale, reaching long. When you can't go anymore, bending the hip, bring yourself down into triangle, wherever you'd like the block. Push your feet into the ground. Really activate the feet here. Draw that into the pelvis and then lengthen your spine and rotate. Take one more breath. Push your feet into the ground. Push your heels into the ground. Slowly allow all the trunk support muscles to work hard to support you and bring you back up to neutral. Coming into a Tadasana to realign, to find that alignment in your body and in your mind. Let's come down into the posture of integration, letting everything find its place. So get whatever you need for your Shavasana. Find a comfortable position. Do whatever you need to do last minute, knees to chest or limbs in the air to let the skeleton settle. And then bring yourself into Shavasana.
Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bringing movement into your hands and your feet, your ankles, your wrists, bending the knees, the elbows. Draw the knees in, rock side to side. Coming onto your side. Pushing yourself away from the ground. Come up to seated. Let's close the practice. Close your eyes. Go inside your body. Take your hands together. Push the heart to the hands to the heart. Bring yourself inside, noticing what you notice. Was the practice effective? Was it too much, too little, or just right? Let your body decide how much to give each day. Let's close with sound, with a humming sound. Exhale, create space. Inhale. In gratitude, namaste. Today's practice vacillated between twisting, backbending, and stabilizing. All the postures that were used in the practice had an element of that. And whether we were on the ground
bending our spine in bridge, twisting our spine in the supine twist, or stabilizing our spine in the modification of the dolphin or the forearm plank. On all fours or seated, we twisted our spine, back bending camel, and then we came into plank to fortify. We went to standing, we did mountain posture for alignment. We came into dancer, which introduced balance and strengthening in the hip joint and the pelvis. It also added the back bend to the upper spine. From there, we went into triangle to strengthen the bones, to create rotational force. That was the rotation, the twisting in triangle to create that bone stimulation. Checking in with yourself to know what's appropriate. And my question is, what did you do for your bones today? So after this practice, quite a bit. So find some of these postures, these shapes, back bend, twist, stabilizing into your life every single day. So at the end of the day, when you ask yourself, what did I do for my bones today? You have a lot of answers for that. That, ladies, and maybe men if you're out there, but it's mostly ladies, that is how we are going to stay strong for the rest of our lives so that we could still do all the things we want to do. That's my goal. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm sharing what I'm sharing. And I want that for you too. All right. So I see that you guys are chatting away, but I cannot see from back there. So Susan started this off with she was happy to be practicing. And that's what that did for me. All right. Carolyn, I didn't know you were here. Good morning. Kathy, hi. Great. Perfect, Kathy. Love to hear that. Wendy, great. Great. Yeah, great workout, right? And of course, hopefully as appropriate as it should have been for you. Good. Strong and happy. Oh, isn't that great? Isn't that what we want? I want to be strong and happy. Physically and mentally and emotionally. You're welcome, Lynn. I was wondering if you were out there. Susan, yeah, every day, ask yourself. So if you're not on my newsletter list, I'm starting to do my newsletters again. I took a little break, honestly, because I just needed to. So DebbieRobinson.com, www.debbierobinson.com. Sign up for my newsletter. And that was the question of the day there. But I also have a list on my newsletter today of what are bone building things that you're doing during the day and what are bone dissolving things you're doing during the day. So you can start to learn what you need to do for building. You're welcome, Sharon. Yeah, dancer. I don't teach dancer that often because I'll tell you it's the hardest posture for most people in person. I'd say twisted triangle is hard, but I don't worry about people falling out of twisted triangle because their feet are in a position that it's not as easy to fall out. Dancer, you're on one leg and then you're pushing your body weight in different places. A little bit more precarious. Great. Oh, I love that, Patty. Well, guess what sweating means? Detoxification. That's one of the pathways of detoxification is the skin. So if you were sweating today, great. I love that. And here's me with a mild headache. It's not really too much of a headache. It's just I feel it kind of here because I'm detoxing. And then what else I'd say? The humming breath. That really good for heart health, for calming yourself. And then I began with that visualization of seeing your reflection in a lake. And that is what the goal of meditation is to get the mind energy to not be vibrating and to get it to clarity so you could see yourself, your real self. Yeah. All right, Carolyn. I am off for the day. I'll see you all when I see you. Have a great day. What did you do for your bones today? You pushed on them, pulled on them, back bend, twisted, and aligned them. That's what you did today.